What is going on, ProGuides family? My name is Renox, and today we are going to be going over some of the things that Shroud does that you don't. From the simple things to things that you have never seen before, this is the video to watch if you are looking to improve your aim, your game, or your brain. But before we dive into all the juicy Shroud details, you guys know what time it is. It is of course time for our question of the day. Today's question is, what do you think Shroud does differently from you in order to be just so good? Personally, I think Shroud definitely gets inside the head of his enemies a lot better than I do. He's able to predict the pathing of enemies perfectly and to be ready for them to turn the corner. Be sure to let us know what you guys think down in the comments below. Starting things off today, we have probably one of the easiest ways to secure kills, and that's holding your angle perfectly. When Shroud holds an angle, he does so for a few reasons. Firstly, he is confident in securing a kill. He knows that if someone peeks into him, he has the reaction time and the precision to take their head off, but that's not all. Secondly, he knows that if he does get out-aimed, then he needs a way to let his teammates trade him, so he holds an angle from behind his team even though he might be playing a duelist or another agent that can afford to take those more aggressive fights. This just goes to show that no matter what type of agent you are playing, holding angles and taking a second to think about your shot can provide a clear advantage against an enemy. Shroud does this constantly in Valorant, understanding when it is right to try to force his advantage by playing fast versus just trying to hold the angle when he needs to. Making this decision comes with years of game sense, but there are some general tips you can use to help make your decision. Make sure you are pushing in with your team to consistently be asking yourself questions about the most optimal positioning or ways to trade a teammate. By constantly being on the lookout for the best way to approach taking on a site to trade a teammate, you will slowly start to discover all the little tells that Shroud and other high-level players use to guide their decision-making. Next up on Shroud's list of easy ways to win games is letting your weapon reset. Take a look at Shroud. Even when using a pistol, he allows for a slight delay between shots to make sure that he allows the weapon to reset before firing. With a full auto weapon like the Vandal or Phantom, this reset happens after you finish firing, which is why you can't spray, stop shooting for a split second, then immediately start shooting again. You have to let the gun finish resetting. Most people, even at higher ranks, can forget this and start shooting their semi-automatic weapon as fast as they can without realizing what they are doing is pretty much just asking to miss all your shots and have the enemy jet swoop in and let you spectate your team for the rest of the round. Allowing your pistol to reset is probably one of the most important mechanical skills to know and to ensure that you win pistol round. If you are buying the Ghost because you feel like you are hitting more headshots when you are using it, it's probably because you aren't letting the Classic reset and instead are just spamming both the Ghost and the Classic. While this can work for lower elo, if you want to improve and reach Shroud's level, learning how to properly shoot the pistols is an easy way to start on your path. Plus, saving the 500 credits on a Ghost by buying a Classic will let you buy more of your abilities or armor to give you that extra edge. Dropping into third on our list today is Shroud's amazing ability to trade teammates effectively. When left in a sticky situation, Shroud can position himself in a way that keeps him isolated enough from his teammates so that he doesn't die from an angle that he can't watch, but close enough that he can instantly trade the kill if it is needed. It is this positioning and game sense that allows him to pull off plays like the one you are watching, where he is able to stay hidden and trust that his teammates will trade with each other until his last teammate dies and he swings to get the kill. It is this trust combined with his amazing game sense that allows him to continuously pull off play after play like this. If you are looking to pull off play after play like this of your own, there are a few things you need to keep in mind. First, be sure to consistently be ready to trade your teammates if they are pushing onto site. If you notice that a teammate just died right in front of you, instead of holding back and playing safe, try to push up and pick off the enemy as they are retreating or distracted. Don't get right behind your teammates and body block them though. If you get too close behind someone, you can actually prevent them from moving backwards and unintentionally getting them killed. We are going to be talking about one of those things that you just don't see too much of in Valorant. Spray transfers are just one of those things that are sick when they happen, but do require a certain degree of luck, especially in Valorant. Since the spray becomes random after the first few bullets, the spray becomes unpredictable and therefore a lot harder to try and predict a spray transfer. Sometimes you don't have to predict it. Sometimes you just need to believe in the RNG. That is why you will constantly see players like Shroud going for spray transfers either onto targets they can actually see, or sometimes even perceived threats like a smoke that's a little too close for comfort or a suspicious angle close by. These transfers can help you potentially secure a kill or information that you wouldn't have otherwise got and with little to no downside. You of course burn through more ammo, and if you end up shooting all of it, then you will have to endure a reload and just hope that no one hid for a few seconds while you were wildly spraying. Shroud minimizes this downside by not emptying his mag a lot of the time and instead keeping a few bullets loaded just in case someone comes swinging around that corner. If you want some help learning how to handle spray transfers, be sure to check out ProGuides.com. No matter what you are looking to improve at, be it your spray transfers, game sense, or even finding just some settings that work for you, ProGuides has some of the best coaches in Valorant just waiting to help you improve. Learn from the best so you don't die like the rest and escape your elo hell today. Visit the link in the description or ProGuides.com to learn more. Sliding on into our fifth spot on our list today is Shroud's use of baits. Now, we don't mean he's letting his teammate die just so he can grab his weapon. We talked about how well Shroud trades earlier. No, when we say baits, we are talking about using different audio cues or ways that Shroud can use his weapons or environment to make the enemies think one way. For example, planting the spike for a split second to get the audio cue and force an enemy to peek is a pretty common bait that we can see Shroud using here. But the real magic with Shroud's use is that even if the enemy knows it's a bait, Shroud uses it in such a way that they have no choice but to peek. When Shroud starts getting spiked down behind cover but then goes back to peek an angle, the player that is defending has to make a choice between doing nothing and letting Shroud get the spike down or trying to do something but potentially dying. It is a hard choice to make, and Shroud is a master at forcing fights and manipulating situations to his advantage, and you can be too. One of the main things you can do is try to not be predictable with your baits. Make it seem like an accident when you were trying to bait someone out. So for example, if you wanted to fake some sounds like you were falling back, don't just run straight back and then walk. Add some natural pauses in your movement or double back to make the decision to fall back feel more natural. When you're baiting a player, you're creating a story with the information that you give them. A spike being planted means that you are vulnerable, but also that you could be faking it to get a kill. Depending on where you are and what has transpired in that round, the situation could play out two completely different ways, and it is up to you to predict how it's going to play out. One of the things that you could even say that Shroud is known for is not only staying cool under pressure, but staying cool no matter the circumstances. Shroud has always been one to keep his head on his shoulders and not let anything get to him. Sure, he might play up a reaction or something for the camera, but I think we all know that it takes a lot to get Shroud truly mad, and that is probably his greatest skill. Being able to take punch after punch and not let it phase you is what allows you to see the game in a clearer light and understand more, because you are not stuck focusing in on just one bad or maybe unbroken section. Or you are just not wasting the brain power thinking about that 34-6 jet that just dismantled your team last night. No, instead Shroud says whatever happened, happened, and now is the time for this game and these situations, so no time for me to get tilted. This is the type of mentality that you want to have, but it's a lot easier said than done. Staying on top of your mental is hard, but there are still a few ways that you can make it easier on yourself. First, stop obsessing about your win-loss or your KD. These things don't matter in the long run, your willpower and determination do. Don't let these numbers be the thing to take you down a dark hole of toxicity and anger, as that will only lead to you playing worse and then feeling even more angry and tilted because of it all. Instead, learn to let things go and try your best to not let them bother you. Again, we know it's a lot easier said than done, but after some time and practice put into it and just a little bit of willpower, you too can become an untiltable god like Shroud himself. Last but most certainly not least, we have just playing as RAZE, man. We know, RAZE is an annoying agent to play against, but that's just what makes her so good that even Shroud is jumping on the train and has been playing a lot of RAZE recently. With all of RAZE's abilities doing a good amount of damage, and most of them even being able to potentially ace an entire team, she is definitely an agent that you should be utilizing just like Shroud is. Her paint shells are a great area of denial or killing tool depending on how you want to use them. She has the best flexible mobility, with her blast packs being able to either get RAZE across the map or bring down sage walls in an instant, with her boombot clearing out rooms at the same time of all of this, and not to mention her giant freaking rocket launcher. We can definitely see why Shroud has been picking up this agent recently. Funnily enough, we also know that Riot has confirmed some nerfs to this version of RAZE anyways, so if you're looking to get some more games into the exploding lady, sooner is definitely better than later. The main thing you want to keep in mind while playing her is that you are still very vulnerable if you put yourself into a bad situation, so the best way to play RAZE is to force your enemies to peek you instead of you constantly peeking your enemies. This will help increase your kill count and also decrease your tilt, as hopefully you won't be running full speed into the enemy team now, hopefully. Well guys, that is all that we have for you here today. If you guys liked the video, then be sure to leave a like and maybe even consider subscribing. We put out new videos just like this one every single day, and the best way to stay notified is by ringing that notification bell. Don't forget to leave your answer to our question of the day down in the comments below. Remember to stay safe out there, and I will see you all again very, very soon.